darkness, Drill Sergeant Gordon.
Right. Get a little light in that dark head.
Yes, Drill Sergeant Gordon.
Gaines, can you help him out in the 4th paragraph?
No, Drill Sergeant Gordon, that's because
You can't.
the 3rd paragraph.
Ay, caramba. Cisco!
Yes, Drill Sergeant Gordon.
Your turn, 4th paragraph.
I believe in Norwich, my alma mater, because throughout the years, within her halls, these tenets have found expression, while men have been taught to be loyal to duly constituted authority in thought, word, and deed, to view suffrage as a sacred privilege when exercised within dictates within the ordinance of conscience, to view public office as a public trust, and finally to fight, and if need be to die, to defend the cherished institutions of America. Like K.R.B. Flint, class of 1908, Drill Sergeant Gordon.
Holy bejesus, you finally learned something. Gaines, think you can learn that by 3rd mess?
This crew will try, Drill Sergeant
No,
Gordon.
you will do it.
Sirs, ketchup and mustard down, please, sirs!
Meal times are no picnic either. One ship, one sip at a time. A Rook's Day is a continuing exercise in discipline.
Then there was the color green.
Then there was the color green.
The transition is very, very difficult. You really have to want to be here. If you don't, it won't work out. You'll find any way to quit, get out, do whatever it's necessary to leave.
The student body. At West Point, Annapolis, the Coast Guard Academy, and the Air Force Academy, the government foots the tuition bill. But at Norwich, most of these cadets pay their own way, so they are not obligated to military service after graduation. But half choose to serve anyway. Aisha Muhammad, a rook from Brooklyn, New York, is already considering a career in the military.
Right now, it's a 50-50 chance. Well, actually, 75% I do want to go.
Why?
Well, for one thing, the main thing is to help my country. And I don't know, it's just something about this school that makes me enjoy military life.
Up the Fowler Tower!
Many Norwich cadets serve in the Armed Forces Reserves. Last year, 26 were called to active duty and sent to fight in Operation Desert Storm. Eric Doucette of Beverly was one of them.
And being a 20-year-old at the time, I fit in quite nicely, and I never had any problems with the older and more experienced men. And I think Norwich experience did that for me.
Interesting to see the large numbers of women there. 60 this year, which is double what they had in the past. So a lot of women are choosing Norwich.
Exactly, and maybe one of the reasons, at least the Academy is actually sensitive to this, is that they've actually started a new training class on for upperclassmen who teach people, and it's about sexual harassment and discrimination for upper-class men and women. And it's the first time that they've done that, but it also may account for the fact that, you know, the number of women have increased by double since last year.
With all that hazing, and well, they may not call it hazing, but the discipline, I suppose that's important to have that sensitivity in place. Back with more in a moment.
Coming up next.
What took place, it hurt the school's public image. However, it's changed the school around.
Uncovering a school's secrets. Arose out of a sensational murder case. Mike Chronicle continues our story.
The Norwich campus is quiet now, unlike 2 years ago when a murder trial in Alexandria, Virginia, had the campus swarming with activity.
When Chandler Mata's parents left their 21-year-old son at home alone over Memorial Day weekend, he went on a killing spree that stopped only when his parents returned.
Chandler Mata, a former Norwich student, killed 3 women, 3 prostitutes. Part of his defense? What happened to him at Norwich during his rook year, hazing, so affected him that it turned him to violence. He told of a secret society called the Night Riders. He claimed that this group of upperclassmen would sneak into his room at night and lead him to a network of underground tunnels where he would be beaten and forced to drink beer laced with his own blood. Mata's ex-roommate, Norman Maple, testified at the trial.
And he would talk about how he would go out at night on these little adventures and how the cadre would come into our room and take him out. And none of that ever happened. because anybody walking in the room, I was awake in a snap. After I've been able to sit back and actually see all the evidence that was entailed with the case and read his diary, and after sitting through the testimonies of his prior school teachers, speaking with his family members and everything, the school in no way forced him to do that or imposed anything, you know, that made him snap.
The jury felt the same way and convicted Matta on 3 counts of first-degree murder. No underground tunnels were ever found. And the Night Riders?
Almost a non-existent, if you can't even call it an organization, because the most informed cadets didn't even know it existed until the media brought it out from the trial.
According to Potter and the cadets we asked, the Night Riders are nothing more than a group of upperclassmen who enforce the honor code operating within university regulations. But the Night Riders weren't the only item uncovered by the media. Some Norwich dropouts came forward with tales of harassment, of hazing, of physical abuse conducted by upperclassmen and seemingly condoned by the institution itself. Hazing so bad that it caused them to drop out. Well, once that became public, something had to be done. Last year, for the first time, tradition was broken. Many cadets felt it was time.
What took place, it hurt the school's public image. However, it's changed the school around, and it's brought about the change necessary to where we can make ourselves better.
In the past, we were saying we have to make it as tough as we can. We want to make this an exclusive club, you know. We want to make this a tough thing to be and a proud place to be. But we were mixing up that degree of tough and hardness with you know, unprofessionalism. We were making it too difficult because of unprofessional activity that was going on here.
Come on, Joe. Come on, you do something, Brissette!
So changes have been made. What rooks are seeing now is a kinder, gentler Norwich.
In other words, I have introduced to them, instead of screaming, yelling, and those kind of things, and you may want to do that from time to time, but you ought to use it in a positive way of encouraging your trainees, coaching them, almost using coaching techniques, positive motivation, encourage them to do the right thing versus tearing them down or something that's demeaning. You know, anyone can be a dictator by virtue of position and rank, but it takes a real leader to inspire his men to follow. You take care of your troops in the military. They are your troops. The Marines say, my Marines. And I want our cadets to say, my rooks, my cadets, and refer to them that way and feel that kind of responsibility in building that kind of relationship.
But not everyone is happy about General Potter's new approach to training.
All the upperclassmen want to say that it's easier on the new class coming in, because they always want to feel like it was so tough on them.
The toughest part about change is convincing people that change is going to be good, because people inherently say that change is going to just be a hassle to them. They don't want to put up with change. They want things to remain status quo.
Whether the upperclassmen like the new way or not, the university feels the kinder, gentler approach is succeeding. 27 students had dropped out by this time last year, compared to 9 this year. And the rooks we spoke to are determined to keep that number down.
Right now, I feel like there's nothing that will make me give up. That I'll definitely make it through, no matter what.
The thing I look forward to most is recognition, because I know I'm going to be there when it happens.
Well, when you go through that kind of regimen, I guess the recognition is really what you're looking for.
Yeah,
at
recognition.
the end.
Actually, it's a day when they move up from the demeaning status of rook entry into the Corps itself. And it used to be a very low-key affair. They'd announce it during mess, but now they have much more of a formal ceremony. So it's much. We've learned that the sensitivity is a much bigger issue there now.
Sensitivity,
That's
the
right.
word of the day. And we'll be right back. Stay with us. Coming up next.